Welcome to Full Arch Masters, where the best never rest.
That's it. Hey everybody, this is Dr. Dunlop from Full Arch Masters with my fan media creator, Jose.
That's right.
Thank you for joining us for another edition of the Full Arch Masters podcast. Jose, what do you want to talk about today?
Man, honestly, that's kind of been on my mind since I started working with you guys here, especially you, and kind of seeing what you're doing with Better Life here at Full Arch Masters and Full Arch Masters Lab. You know, I feel like my question, being working with you for about 3-4 years coming up, man, it's like, what's the origin story like? Where did you start?
Origin story. Oh
Let's
my
go back
Lord.
to the beginning, man.
Back to the old school origin story? Man, I don't think we have the time for that. It's going to be a minute to tell that story. How about we hop in my car and we go grab a coffee and I'll tell you on the way.
A road pod, let's go.
Let's go.
Woo!
Get on in, brother.
The freshness is real.
It's got that new Hummer smell.
Let's go.
Start high-speed 4G connection. Press the blue OnStar button to learn more.
All right, well, let's get into this.
All right, so origin story, man.
Yeah.
Well, I guess if you want to go way back, you got to go back to my dental school days. Graduated from Harvard Dental School in 2006, and I was a pretty average dental student. You know, I was interested in everything. I went in with an open mind. Got to learn ortho, got to learn endo, got to learn pedo, all the different specialties. My dental school was really focused on specialty. So there was a lot of pressure to go to oral surgery program or to go to perio program or do some sort of specialty work.
Yeah.
I was really resistant to that because I couldn't choose, I couldn't find a specialty that made sense to me.
Why is that?
Because I enjoyed them all, honestly. I enjoyed full comprehensive treatment planning and surgical dentistry, prosthetic dentistry, specialty work. So I decided to do a GPR residency. That's a hospital-based general practice residency.
Okay. And where was this?
That was in the Bronx, New York.
Okay. Oh,
yeah.
dang.
So VA hospital. I moved from Boston in 2006, and I moved to the Bronx. And I took this position at the VA hospital through the Mount Sinai Medical Center.
Yeah.
And really enjoyed that. I got to do full comprehensive dentistry, surgical dentistry. Basically had to do my entire treatment plans. There was no specialty programs at this hospital. So if a patient needed a root canal or an extraction, ortho, I'd have to do it all. So that really showed me that I do love full spectrum dentistry.
Yeah.
And I stayed a second year at that GPR to focus on implant dentistry. And that's where I really got my experience in placing dental implants, restoring full arch cases, doing single unit, multi-unit implant cases.
Now, how long ago was this?
That was 2006 to 2008.
Okay.
So I moved back to California with my wife, and she
Shout out Ani.
Yeah, shout out to Ani. She got a position at UCSF Fresno.
Nice.
So we moved to Fresno, and I needed a job. So I took a job in an office that was doing some implant dentistry, but not doing full arch.
Yeah.
And within a few months, I realized that there was a big opportunity to show him how to do full arch and do bigger cases.
What was that like, showing him?
It was good. I mean, he was a good dentist. He just didn't know that some of these things existed.
Yeah.
So I started showing him how to do full arch implant placements rather than single tooth implant placements. And started doing more and more cases.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is those early patients from 2006, 2007, 2008, some of them still come to see me here.
Really?
So it's interesting to go back and see how my work has changed over the years. And some of the prosthetics are wearing out now. Some of the implants are losing bone now, and I'm seeing what I didn't know back then. And that's
now, do you have that feeling? Sometimes you're like, man, when you see it, you're like, what was I thinking?
Sometimes. I mean, sometimes I'm like, oh man, I would do this so differently now.
Yeah.
But luckily, when I see a lot of these older cases come through, actually, their implants look great, but their prosthetics don't, because we didn't have the materials that we have now. We had acrylic and denture teeth, and that's all we had. We had cast metal bars and tie bases and all this mumbo jumbo that we've eliminated at Full Arch Masters. So when I look back, I think, man, those implants actually look pretty good, but the prosthetics look horrible.
Yeah, something was missing, the piece.
Right.
There's like
but now I get to redo those prosthetics for these people.
Nice.
And now they have nice implants and nice materials. So that's kind of a fulfillment. But I worked as an associate from, 2008 to 2015, 7 years. Yeah, I was comfortable in that office. We had our first child in 2011, Audrey. I started to realize somewhere close to, 2013, 2014, that I wasn't going to be able to be an associate much longer.
Did you feel like you were like a big fish in a little pond?
Well, I think I had outgrown the practice.
Mm-hmm.
I think I had more of a goodwill and more of a reputation in the community than the owner did at that point.
Yeah.
And so I realized that I was either going to have to buy him out or I was going to have to move on to my own project.
Mm-hmm.
So we talked about the buyout for a while. Our numbers were pretty far off. We couldn't come to a realistic compromise.
Yeah.
So sometime in 2015, I just realized if I'm going to do this, I'm going to have to do it on my own.
Yeah.
Start my own project. And so I started looking for spaces, found the space that I'm in now.
Yeah.
But even that, it was only 1,200 square feet. It was a small little operation. It was a vacant dental office. The dentist had moved, and it was just sitting there empty.
Yeah.
So I was able to move in right away. Within 30 days, I had equipment, I had employees, I had insurances, I had corporate entities. It was a fast transition.
Now, going back to that, kind of beginning of it, did you have a vision where you wanted to be where you're at now back then, or this kind of just evolved, grew, and you started seeing the need, right? You started seeing the opportunity of growth. Did you foresee that?
I didn't foresee any of this. I knew that I wanted to do full arch dentistry. I knew that was what my career was going to be.
Yeah.
But I didn't foresee the growth that we've had. I didn't foresee Full Arch Masters. I didn't foresee the lab. When I first opened, I just wanted to do cases and help patients and build a quality operation for myself, for my family. I remember trying to name it. I remember trying to come up with a name for my practice. And I couldn't come up with a name. I didn't want to call it Dunlop Dental. I didn't want to call it Fresno Dental Implant Center. I wanted to have something that really captured what I was looking for. And I remember it was about 1 or 2 a.m. in the middle of the night, and I was racking my brain. I had all these names written down on a paper. Because a name, it doesn't really exist until you name it, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Like imagine you had a child and you didn't name it, right? It wouldn't exist until you give it a name.
Their identity is not fully there or established.
So I looked at my wife and I was like, I don't know what to call this place. Fundamental Dental, Paramount Dental, Fresno Dental Implants. Like, what am I going to name this place?
Yeah.
And she said, what is it that you're trying to achieve? What is your goal? And I said, I want to create a better life. I want to create a better life for us, our family. I want to create a better life for my employees that have agreed to take a chance on me.
Yeah.
And I want to create a better life for the patients that trust me. And she's like, Better Life. That's it.
Wow.
You need to name your office Better Life Dentistry. And it just like a light bulb went off and I was like, oh my God, that's the name, Better Life Dentistry. So that's the origin story of Better Life.
Yeah.
And that was 2015. So we opened our doors, like I said, all within 30 days of starting.
Yeah.
So, in the dental world, that's unheard of.
That's fast, man.
It's fast. It was 29 days exactly. Got a bank loan, got insurance loans, got my license situated correctly, found employees, hired, brought Amy, brought Lori, hired Tammy, had the core, started advertising on TV that I was opening a new office. And on July 5th or 6th, right after the 4th, I saw my first patient, and my first patient was John. I still remember him, and it was a double arch upper lower.
Really?
So on my day one of my startup practice in 2015, John Blevins, he was my first patient. I did upper and lower. I still see him to this day. He's doing great. Totally changed his life around. He's doing fantastic.
Is that heard of? Is that common? First arch first?
No.
Maybe explain that, and maybe that's setting the pace, paving the path.
Right.
The light at the end of the tunnel. Maybe explain that after we probably get our order.
After we get our order. Can I have a grande iced caramel macchiato?
Same.
2, make it 2.
All right.
We got a voice on it.
That's it. You got a low voice, man.
Oh, you got it this morning. 11:90.
Okay, thanks.
Or read a book.
He should be our narrator.
Yeah. We need to connect with him.
Right.
A little voiceover.
Let's do some voiceover work, man. So anyways, yeah, most offices do not start with a double arch immediate load surgery. That's pretty rare. When you start a dental practice, you know, you're stuck with what comes through the door.
Yeah.
And I'm a general dentist by trade, but I knew that full arch dentistry was the way I had to be. I wasn't going to be able to do anything else. So I saw a bunch of consults, and John was a patient that I had treatment planned to do work on at the previous office. He transferred his care over, and I was able to treat him as patient number 1. And he's doing fine to this day. So,
Nice.
you know, that's a testament to how well these cases can go for people, and how well they can go for the doctor as well. So,
you know, I mean, just thinking about that too, you know, because obviously there's countless cases, you know, so many happy tears, so many lives, you know, that you know, had an opportunity to make a better life for your patients, you know.
Right.
You know, and, you know, we can tell those stories all day, but you have a plethora, you know, of you know, stories to talk about, you know, but, you know, what was that thought and feeling knowing, because, you know, Full Arch Masters now, what you're doing for, man, thousands of practices. I think my assumption would be knowing that they have you guiding them to get to this point, right? But that feeling like there was nobody there, right? You know,
there's
it's like
nobody there for me.
Yeah, isn't that weird that how you were sitting over here, but you didn't have a Ryan Dunlop over there?
Right.
You know, maybe explain that feeling.
Well, I mean, I think that in order to be a mentor for somebody, you have to have walked in their shoes. You have to have lived that life. You have to have fought in the trenches.
Let's go.
And, you know,
Battle
at
tested.
2010 to 2015, when I was doing a lot of this work, there was really nobody out there that had perfected full arch dentistry. It was kind of a hodgepodge mix of techniques, and there was really no consensus on how to do these. So I had to make a lot of mistakes. I had to fix those mistakes. I had to lose a lot of trust from patients, and I had to regain a lot of trust in patients. And yeah, it was really hard. It was frustrating. I'd go home feeling defeated. I'd go home feeling demoralized. But you wake up the next day and you do it again. Right? You know, there is no such thing as failure. It's just one more opportunity to learn.
You know, and I think from my POV, just kind of getting into this world, this, you know, this industry, you would say, or just this career path of following your journey, seeing your story, you know, seeing the older videos, and, you know, seeing kind of like the impact you've made. You know, one thing I love about, you know, the grind you have, and the, you know, the willpower to keep moving forward is that you didn't let defeat.
No, you have to be tenacious.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're running a restaurant or coffee shop or a car dealership or a dental office. You have to be tenacious in business. You cannot sit back and lick your wounds. You cannot sit back and feel demoralized. You have to get up every single day and go get it.
Come on.
That is the bottom line. Is nothing is going to be handed to you in this world. Nothing is going to be given to you in this world. In fact, if you're complacent, things will just be taken away. You have to get up and earn it every single day. And then once you do earn it, the same amount of energy that it took to get there, it takes more to stay there. Right?
That's true.
So there is no plateau in business. You keep going and going and going. And then when you get there, you just look at the next peak. And so you have to be tenacious. You have to be very determined and have a goal in mind of where you want to go. Even if you don't know where you want to go, you just know which direction. Right? If you're in the ocean on a boat and you don't know where you're going, you just go one direction. Right? If you're going in circles, you are never going to get anywhere.
You know, that's true. And I think listening to that again reminds me of a saying that, you know, I say, you know, a lot of people, all they see is the glory. Oh, look, Dr. Ryan,
Fancy
Full Arch
cars.
Masters, everything, blah, blah, blah. You know, Humvee EV 2024, let's go. You know, but they don't know the story, right? And so one of the key phrases I love, you know, saying, especially about my personal life, you know, because I can relate, you know, to kind of what you've been through as far as the struggle, feeling defeated, pushing a business, trying to find your way in this world, but they don't know the story, you know, and I think that's why we're shooting this pod, you know, the story behind the glory, right? All they see is the glory, but they don't see
they see the glory, but they don't know the gory.
the gory of the story. I mean,
it is hard. It is hard.
We're going to take an offering because Dr. Ryan is reaching right now, you know, but I mean, again, let's get into that now. Because again, now you're Dr. Ryan Dunlop to these doctors now that you can see yourselves where they're at now. You have that experience.
Right.
Maybe let's kind of get into that vein of like Full Arch Masters, how that come about.
Well,
and the experience that you got, the blood, sweat, and tears to put you in this position.
I was talking to my wife last night and about how difficult and challenging it can be to run a business. She's a business owner, I'm a business owner. And you get to a point in a business where you feel like helpless, like I don't know how to solve this problem, or I don't know what I'm going to do without this person, or I don't know what I'm going to do to fix this.
Yeah.
And those problems pass. And when you're doing really well and you're just flying high and you're making a ton of money and everybody's happy, well, guess what? That time will pass too.
Yeah.
And so you have to go with the ebbs and the flows.
Yeah.
And you have to be opportunistic.
Yeah.
And when things are going well and you see an opportunity, you have to know how to take it.
Yeah.
And if things are going really badly, you also know have to persevere and get through it. And Full Arch Masters is a reflection of that philosophy. There was an opportunity that came circa 2018, 2019, 2020, where I realized that I was way ahead of the curve. Social media had a lot to do with this because I was starting to see what was out there.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, the stuff I'm already doing is way ahead of the curve. And I should be sharing this with my colleagues. I figured some stuff out. I've eliminated some of the pitfalls. I should share this with my colleagues to help the greater good. So I started messaging people, talking to people, sharing little tidbits with people, and they would message me and say, hey, I want to learn that. Where do I learn that? I had no program. I had no structure for that.
Yeah.
So I just invite them up to my office. Hey, come on over. I'll show you. And they'd come and they'd spend 1 or 2 days with me, and it would change everything for them.
Yeah.
And then around 2020, I started to realize I can't keep doing this because I take days off and I show people stuff and I can't accommodate everybody. I need to put them all in a group. So I'd put them all in a group for a week and I just invite them up.
Do you have video, any of that, like archives anywhere?
Maybe I'd have to go back.
Yeah, maybe as you guys are listening.
I can go. I have videos and photos from way back then. And I realized that I had to put everybody together into a group so it would make sense. So I started putting groups together around 2020, and the rest is history. I mean, we started doing courses, and we haven't stopped. We did a course every 2 or 3 months all the way through COVID, masked up, outdoors. I mean, it was crazy. And we just never stopped. So it was an opportunity, but I was in the position to capitalize on that opportunity. I think it was Eisenhower that said success equals preparedness plus luck. You have to be prepared. If you're not prepared to take the opportunity, someone else will. But you need a little bit of luck. You need a little bit of that door opening so you are the one that goes through it. And you can't be afraid. You can't be afraid to take the opportunities when they present themselves.
And I hear that, man. I mean, that speaks. Again, we're going to take another offering, Dr. Ryan Venmo right there if you want to give it up.
Put it in the cup.
Because a good friend of mine coined a phrase too, and that he let me use all the time, man. Literally took me 15, 20 years to learn how to do it in 15, 20 minutes, right? So your experience, your knowledge, and your understanding in this world, it came at it came at a cost, right? So because of that, you're now able to help a lot of your colleagues, that you've been in their shoes, to take the shortcut. Yes, they pay for this, man, but the investment's worth it because they see the value, because they see the success already, right? And so I love how, what you said, it's just, how much of it is it just luck, you think?
It's preparedness and luck. If you don't have a little bit of luck, you may not make it. You may be, think about all the professional athletes out there that have crazy talent, right? They're the best swimmers, they're the best hitters, they're the best shooters, they're the best runners. Nobody can touch them in terms of talent. How many actors out there can just make you cry, make you laugh? But until you get that role, or until you're in that moment to achieve greatness, nothing happens. And so how many starving actors, how many athletes that are better than the superstars are out there waiting tables and serving coffee because they never had that break? So you have to be prepared, and then you need luck. But if you're not prepared, luck will just pass you by.
Lady luck,
right?
man.
Lady luck will just sail right by. So you got to invest in education, invest in technology, invest in your skill set, be the best that you can be. And then when the luck comes along, you grab it.
Yeah.
You grab it and you run and you don't look back.
Yeah, and again, that just reminds me of, this all makes sense. The quote you've coined is the best never rest.
The best never rest.
And again, I've talked to a lot of, business owners. You, by far, one of my ones that I've gleaned from. I've grown the past 3-4 years working with you, changed my entire mindset, because this mindset is very contagious. You either adapt or you get left to the wayside. And I think with the doctors that come and experience this, I've seen them. We've interviewed countless of doctors, their assistants, their teams, and the first thing they say is that we thank you, Dr. Ryan, and his team for showing us this, paved the way, got rid of all the trenches, got rid of all the debris, and made it easy for us. How's that make you feel, knowing that you've had that impact, knowing that, you've developed lifelong friendships and all, man? How's that make you feel, at this current state?
Well, if you look back in history, what was one of the greatest civilizations of all time? What would you say one of the, not ours, but like in history?
Rome.
Yeah. Exactly, right? So Rome was one of the greatest civilizations ever built, right? But it fell.
Yeah.
Right? What led to the rise of Rome? It was passion.
Yeah.
It was passion. They built Rome out of their passion.
That's
But what led to the demise and fall of Rome? Greed.
Yep.
It was greed.
Let's go.
Right? So if passion and desire led to the rise of Rome, then it was their own selfishness and greed that led to the fall of Rome.
That's real.
And that's what I think Full Arch Masters is helping people avoid. Is living in that hole, living in kind of a greed state. Where you want to keep everything to yourself.
Hoard it. Hey, can we get your social media?
My social media?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
We're gonna hire you to do voiceovers.
For real.
You got a voice for Hollywood, man.
Oh man, I got a face for radio though, brother.
No. I don't think so at all. He's gonna be on the next video.
Yeah,
You'll
watch.
see.
You're gonna hear his voice.
Welcome to Full Arch Master. We should get him to say it.
Yeah, right. We gotta get it.
Thank you for tuning in to the Full Arch Masters podcast.
Unplug your mic or unclip your mic and tell him say that. This is what we do. We create content here.
Create content on the fly, man.
Yeah. Expect more.
We're gonna get a new voiceover talent right now.
As you guys see.
Welcome. I'm gonna ask him to say, "Welcome to Full Arch Masters."
Yeah. The best never rest.
The best never rest.
I like that.
Oh, look, he's got it.
Yeah.
Here, I'm gonna give you this mic. Hold this mic.
Okay.
So my company's name is Full Arch Masters. You see that?
Full Arch Masters.
I want you to look into the camera and say, "Welcome to Full Arch Masters, where the best never rest."
Right now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Welcome to Full Arch Masters, where the best never rest.
That's it.
We'll follow you, man. We'll connect. All right, brother. Have a good day. Oh, he's giving you pound it. You're good, man.
So I left off on greed, right?
Yeah.
So if the rise of Rome was because of passion, then the fall of Rome was because of greed. And I never wanted to be seen or feel like a greedy dentist. And I wanted to be able to say for sure that I gave back to my community.
Yeah.
And that's what Full Arch Masters really is it's shed the stigma of greed and shed the stigma of selfishness and isolationism that plagues dentistry.
Yeah.
Really plagues dentistry and really, really, really plagues Full Arch dentistry. And kind of give back to our community. And I believe that there's more power in collaboration than competition.
I like that.
And I believe that there's more power in what we can do together than what any of us can do by ourselves.
Man.
And that's what Full Arch Masters means to me, is it's my ability and desire to give back to my community.
Yeah.
Because I always felt isolated.
Yeah.
I always felt like I didn't have any friends in the industry. I always felt like I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have a confidant. I didn't have any equals that I could talk to and commiserate and celebrate with.
Yeah.
And that's what Full Arch Masters has become, even more so than an education platform, which it is and which it excels at.
Yeah.
It's a community of like-minded, passionate individuals, and we are building Rome.
Come on.
We are literally building our own version of Rome. And
without the greed.
Without the greed.
Yeah.
Honestly, without the greed.
Yeah. I love hearing that, man, because again, it's just a testament of, just keep moving forward, man. And, again, one thing that stood out to me, I think in my experience from my company, my business, I didn't have anybody showing me this stuff, but since working with you, I've elevated, I've grown. You are who you surround yourself with,
Right.
And that's how I've grown, and I've seen and experienced the past couple of years, people are reaching out to me, and I'm helping people just in my little world, and it's one of these things where it's infectious, right? In the best way, because if you're not taking what you're being taught or who you're around, what impact are you really, doing or living out in your life? Because again, I know you're not here just to make money,
Right.
That's not the goal. Our goal is to really, be an impact,
Right. Leave a mark.
Yeah, leave a mark, man, and then. At the end of the day, when people say your name or somebody speaking ill will of your name, they have your back when you're not in the room. And I feel like that's a legacy, that's integrity, man.
Right.
And I think,
From the streets to the suites.
That's right, man. You guys don't know. From the streets to the suites.
Listen, Jose, when I met you, you were like a diamond in the rough, man. You still are a diamond in the rough, but you were like this unpolished little diamond in the soil that I saw.
Mm-hmm.
You had a true heart of gold. You have a really inspiring, creative mind, but you were just so rough around the edges.
Yeah.
Like you had all this talent and passion, but you needed somebody who's been in the game a little bit more to kind of show you how to package that together and tell the story. Remember, I used to always tell you that.
Yeah.
I tell you, you create good content, but you don't know how to tell the story.
That's real. Yeah.
You don't know how to communicate that to the listener in a very direct way that's not obvious. And over the years, I've seen you progress and evolve, and to watch what you're able to do now for Full Arch Masters and Fam Media, where people seek you out and like, I need you to teach me now. Look, I helped you become a better content creator and become a better storyteller, and now you are helping other people do the same.
Yeah, and
like,
again,
that's the torch.
Yeah, and that's what I love about it, because Full Arch Masters is that in itself. Full Arch Masters is just not digital dentistry. It's not, dental world. It's not implant. It's a lifestyle, man. And again, it's what got poured onto me because I saw the fruit of that, right? I'm a guy that looks at the fruit rather than the guy talking about, I did a lot of good stuff back in the day, but you have no fruit to show, and I think that's what elevated me. Because again, one of my favorite movies, Moneyball. Yeah. He's Billy Bean is trying to elevate the Oakland A's. And he's stuck with this old mentality of men. Right. And it's like, dude, adapt or die. And I adapted to that because I knew the mindset I had before you. I thought I was good enough, right? To be where I'm at today, it's a blessing to be where I'm at. I'm loyal from the soil, man. I'm here. Was it Conor McGregor said, I'm gonna remember those who I'm gonna only sit with those at the table who I started with, and that's my commitment. That's my word, as a man, and I think that obviously that translates over to Full Arch Masters. Maybe getting into that, what's the experience talking with these doctors, and when they make the compliments, because it's hard to hear someone say, Jose, you're a diamond in the rough. Okay, thank you. The false humility. Oh no,
stop
keep it going. It's like, but like you really, that's the real testament, right? What are some of the testimonies you would say that you've heard some of your colleagues, these doctors, these assistants? What have you heard, and what stands out to you the most?
I think inspiration is the key, right? So when people come to Full Arch Masters, yes, they learn how to adapt to new technologies. Yes, they learn proper business regimen. Yeah. Yes, they learn how to market and brand themselves. But more than all of that, they come and they become inspired. And inspiration is the greatest human gift. It's what we use to create everything around us is inspiration and passion. And when people finish the Full Arch Masters course, I mean, how many podcasts have we done at the end of FAM courses where people are like, I am so inspired. Yeah. I have never been more enthusiastic and excited to go home and do dentistry. Yeah, that's true. And that's really what it is because Full Arch cases are everywhere. There's a Full Arch case in this car. Yeah. There's probably a Full Arch case in that car. That guy needs one. Yeah. This guy needs one. There's more Full Arch cases than any of us can ever do in this country. There's 40 million people who have dentures alone. Yeah. That's not even counting the people who are heading towards that. So if you're passionate and you're inspired, you're gonna find these people. Facts. They're gonna find you. Yeah. And so Full Arch Masters is a conduit. It's a portal to that inspiration. You're going to see the passion that I have, see the passion that my team has. Surround yourself with people who share your vision and passion.
Well, I think that's leading by example, right? Because you can't just say, all right, guys, go do.
Right.
When the leader's not doing it, right? So you're the tip of the sword, man. So what you're going through and the energy you're carrying, man, they're going to follow you too, right? You know, and I like what you're saying because, again, it just reminds me, you know, of just the commitment of it. Because, again, you're getting assistants, you're getting doctors that say, I want to go home and work.
Right.
Now, you know, again,
Right.
link in the bio. Go check out these podcasts. You know,
Well, there's a famous picture. We'll put it on the podcast. I'll talk about it right now. There's multiple types of leadership, right? So there's a prototypical leader, right? Is the guy sitting in the chariot,
Yeah.
and he's whipping the workers from behind so that they will work harder. And
Yeah.
he's sitting idle in luxury, right?
Yeah.
That's somebody who leads by yelling at people and sitting back and making other people do work. Then there's the leader who's in the front of the chariot. He's with the people. He's pulling as hard
Yeah.
as they are.
yeah,
And that's the leadership that you need to have to be a successful entrepreneur, but
Yeah.
to be a successful full arch master and to be a successful business owner, you have to lead by example. You have to row as hard, if not harder, than the people you're asking to row with you.
yeah,
And that's the difference between leadership styles that we try to inspire into these doctors. And so when they go home, they are kind of renewed, and
Yeah.
they want to work hard, and they want to do these cases well. And now they have the technology and the team support and the branding and the lab support, and all of this stuff comes together and gels by the end of the course.
Yeah.
And they're just invigorated, and they want to go home and do it. And just like the famous Nike ad, what? Just do it.
That's
you
right.
can't talk about it. You can't watch someone else do it. You have to do it.
Yeah.
And that's what Full Arch Masters gives people, is the opportunity to do it.
yeah,
You come to our courses, we're not sitting in a lecture hall. We're not talking about my work.
yeah,
We're talking about your work. We're making you do it. And whether you want to do prosthetic dentistry, or you want to do the live surgeries yourself, or you want to do the lab yourself, you want to do the administrative work yourself, we train you to do it.
yeah,
And so you get to leave the courses. All of our courses are like this. You leave the courses with actual fundamental knowledge, actual skills that you can go home and use the next week. That you're
applicable skills, right?
applicable.
Like right down.
It's not
now.
abstract.
Yeah.
We're not just talking about all the great work I can do.
Yeah. Oh, look at me.
Right, look at these
Yeah.
beautiful cases. I'm so good.
Yeah.
I'm actually giving you the open recipe, how to build a practice the way that I've built mine, how to lead a team the way that I lead mine, and how to have success the way that I have had success, so that you get to drive the Hummer.
Yeah, well then we're in one of the nicest cars. I should have waited on getting my car. 'Cause this car, man. In saying that, then what's the feeling? Because I remember one testimony from a doctor saying, who does that? Who just gives this information away? Again, one thing I've learned about my industry, my business, is that there's plenty of room at the table for everybody to eat. What made you adapt that mindset to say, what? Yeah, you're paying me for this, but you know what? I'm giving to you all free access, what I use, what works, what doesn't work. What inspired that mentality to just say, hey, let me show you too?
It's just the way I was raised and the core of my being.
Yeah.
I remember when I was 12 years old, I was playing Little League Baseball, and I was a good player. I had power, I could hit home runs, I was a pitcher. But all I threw was heat. I just threw fastballs, and I was good at it. But I'd lose some games, I'd give up some homers, whatever. I remember one coach. I don't remember his name. If I could, I'd give him a shout out. But one coach was like, Ryan, you need to learn an off-speed pitch. You need to learn how to throw something different than your fastball, because they're just waiting for your fastball. And I remember he met with me after practice, just me and him one night, and he showed me a changeup or a curveball or some off-speed pitch, and I nailed it. Like, I could throw it right away.
Yeah.
And as soon as I learned that, my first thought was that I wanted to teach the other pitchers
Nice.
on my team so that we could all be good.
Yeah.
Because I didn't care about my own personal successes. I wanted to win the championship.
I like that.
I wanted to win the cup. I wanted to win the Little League World Series, so to speak. And so the first thing that I did was show the other pitchers how to throw this pitch. And they all got it, and then we started winning every game.
Yeah.
Right? So am I just made that way? I think I'm just that type of person where I have the big picture in mind. I want to win the championship. I don't care so much about my own personal accolades. I get tremendous satisfaction from watching the whole team win.
Yeah.
And so we should all embrace that mentality.
Yeah, and I think that's the reward of it, right? You know, because again, we could always be like, yeah, look at me. We've seen, you know, I've experienced seeing on social media, you know, doctors that are look at me or anybody in that fact, you know, it's
right.
like, but when you remember where you come from, right? And I feel like that's kind of the main thing I'm getting from that story is just like you remember. It's as simple as Little League, man. It's like I remember I come from. Just because I'm at where I'm at doesn't mean I'm changed.
Right.
You know, I've grown. You know, I'm better in that. You know, but remembering where you come from, you know,
Just be the bigger version of yourself.
Yeah, I like that. Maybe elaborate on that. And
well, I mean, I tell my wife all the time, I don't feel 45. Like, what does that mean? I was born in 1979. It's now 2024. That means I'm 45 years old. But in my brain, I'm 18. I'm 19. I'm still in college.
100.
Nothing has changed.
Yeah.
I'm not different. Yeah, maybe I look a little different. I lost some hair. You know, my skin has changed a little. But I'm the same person, and she's the same person. We don't feel 45.
yeah,
So, you know, the life is about becoming the better version of yourself.
I like that.
Right? And not changing who you are. Just become the better version of yourself.
Yeah.
And so whether you're 18 or you're 45 or you're 67, you're the same person. You just always try to be the better version of yourself.
Yeah.
And that's why I say the best never rests, because yeah, you need to take breaks. You know, you need to relax. Everybody needs to chill out.
Yeah.
And that's not the point. People always tease me and say, oh, you never sleep. Oh, you never take time off. You're always on social media. You're always on your phone. That's not true.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, I am on those things, but I'm also with my family.
Yeah.
I'm also, you know, seeing patients. I'm also running businesses.
Yeah.
And it just looks like that on social media that I'm always out and about. But I'm just me, you know, and I'm always trying to be a better version of myself for myself and for the people that I care about.
Well, and saying that, because I know you know, you being that, because when I see it and I hear good leadership qualities, you know, and it's one thing, again, I've gleaned from, man, being a better version of me is, again, not just for me, but for the people around me and the people around you, you know, and again, people, they follow that flow, they follow that vibe, they, you know, that's what gives them a spark. You know, and again, that's personal growth. That's what seeing where, you know, where the rubber meets the road. Hey, man, I'm still the same guy,
right.
You know, but I'm still going to keep moving forward. Growing, better version of me helps you, you know.
Right.
So now, again, that's what Full Arch Masters, you know, in my experience, now that I'm full-time here, creating content, let's go, you know, working with this man every day, just growing. Again, there's not a dull moment, you know, but even getting back into like, what do you see for Full Arch Masters? What do you see? I mean,
we'd have to have a longer drive.
Part 2, huh?
No, I mean, Full Arch Masters is a phenomenon, and it's taking fire. It's growing exponentially. Doctors are reaching out to me from all over the world.
Like
they want to get in on this community. They want to learn. You know, you said it earlier. It's adapt or die. It's adapt or perish. And Full Arch Masters is the next level of dentistry. It's the next phase. And we're always going to be one step ahead of the curve. Minimal strategy with maximum output.
Yeah.
That's the future of everything, right? So instead of needing 10 employees to do a job, you're going to need 2.
Yeah.
Instead of needing 4 hours to do something, you're going to need 30 minutes. So getting better and getting faster, getting more efficient, that's what Full Arch Masters is going to be. So whatever comes down the pipe that's going to help us all get there, that's what we're going to be on. And it's not tomorrow, it's today.
Yeah.
This stuff is happening all the way around us. And my advice to young dentists out there is, you know, choose the 5 procedures that you enjoy doing the most. Whatever it is, think about what are the 5 things that I do in dentistry that I love doing the most. Is it molar root canals? Maybe it is. Is it putting braces on kids? Maybe it is.
Yeah.
Is it surgical scaling and root planing, placing implants, doing bleaching, veneers? Whatever it is, make a list of the 5 funnest things that you do in your job. And then make an effort to do more of those.
Yeah.
Like, it has got to be a daily effort that you are going to focus to do more of those 5 things. And run a count every month. You know, in May, I did 50 procedures out of the 5 that I love.
Wow.
Well, in June, I'm going to try and do 60. And in July, I'm going to try and do 70.
Yeah.
And in August, I'm going to try and do 80. And then if you focus on that every day, pretty soon after 6 months, all you're doing is the 5 favorite things in dentistry. Now you have a practice that you love.
That's cool.
And the stuff that wasn't on that list, it just magically goes away.
Yeah.
But you need to have the skill set in order to do it.
Yeah.
And that's where we come in.
Yeah, and I think that's being intentional with your life, your decisions, your practice. You know, being intentional and knowing where you are. When you know you have a path, you know, like right now we're doing a road pod, you know, Full Arch Masters on the road. And this really, the example of this, you know, the metaphor of us driving is that's how we are in life. We're all on this road. We're making turns.
Right.
You know,
there's stoplights.
Yeah, people
there's
cut you off.
yellow lights
Yeah.
where you have to decide, do I go fast or do I go slow?
Yeah, do you take the risk?
Do I take the risk or
Yeah.
do I stop short? I mean, that's what it's all about, is just knowing your risks and knowing your benefits and making smart choices.
Yeah, and again, we have a destination. We know where we're going right now.
Right.
You know, but do you feel like you've arrived? You know, people say, "Oh, I've arrived. I'm here.
No.
I'm at the top." You know that. You know, how do you hold that mentality at bay?
What did I say earlier? As much energy as it took to get to your destination, it takes more energy to stay there. So, you know, there is no resting once you reach the promised land. That is a fallacy. It's a farce.
Come on.
It doesn't exist. The satisfaction comes from the grind.
I like that.
It comes from the journey, not the destination. And so your journey never ends. Well, maybe once your heartbeat stops.
Yeah.
But while you're alive and kicking, we're squirming in the mud. Our journey doesn't end.
Yeah.
You know, and so you have to embrace that.
Yeah.
Embrace it as a businessman. Embrace it as a family man. Embrace it as a friend. Embrace it as an educator. The journey never stops.
I like that.
And there's always going to be roadblocks. And people have this flawed mentality that, oh, once I get through this particular time, I'll be better.
Yeah.
Once I get through the holidays, it'll get better.
Yeah.
Once I pay off this debt, it'll be better.
Yeah.
Once I get out of this relationship, it will be better. That's not the point.
Yeah.
Life will not be better.
That's
Those obstacles will be replaced with new ones.
Yeah.
And so you just have to accept the limitations of this world, and embrace the journey.
Yeah. That makes so much sense, because I've lived by that. You know, a lot of times when things happen in life, people are surprised. You know, why me?
Why me? Yeah. Oh, another bad thing happened.
Again, what did I do to deserve this? You know, it's that. You're doing it, you know.
That mentality.
And I've learned to accept it, man. You know, I've learned to live my life, man. There's light and dark, and I welcome it both. I'm not going to be surprised by it. And again, this is the journey we're all on. These doctors that are listening and watching, you know, to hear this, a mentor, somebody that's been in the trenches, you've seen the armor, you've seen the shield that has all the chinks, you know, you see the damage on the sword,
right,
you know, because it's been battle tested, you know. And so to say you've arrived or I made it, you know, only shows where you're still got to grow and your immaturity's still there, you know. Again, I'm guilty of that, right? You've been guilty of that at some time, you know. So again, we're not preaching or talking from a high horse. We're coming from an experience of growth. Still, that there's always room to grow, even when you're at the top, sort of say, but you're growing. And that's one of the mentalities, you know, and the mindset that I've learned from you in doing that, just from my media experience and company, what I do as a business, and it's elevated me,
right?
You know, so, and I think in that I accept the roadblocks,
right?
You know,
I mean, in the end, if it's not fun, why are we doing it?
Yeah, that's
right.
So true.
Like life is hard. Everybody has problems. Nobody's free of stress. Nobody's free of problems. In the end, if you're not having fun, why are you doing it?
Yep.
Like, you know, we're only on this world for a short period of time.
Man.
We only get our kids for a short period of time. And if you're not having fun, like, you got to make a change.
Yeah.
And if that's changing careers, or if that's changing locations, or just changing your outlook, you got to make a change, because when you're doing something that's passionate, when you're doing something that's inspirational, and you're having fun, it's not hard work.
Yeah.
And we work hard every day, but we feel like we're hardly working most of the day.
Yeah. I mean, we're just shooting content, having a good time, you know. I mean, we're getting to our destination, you know. Again, last thoughts on Full Arch Masters, message to these, you know, fellow colleagues, you know, future Full Arch, you know, masters.
Right. Well, we have a lot of interesting stuff on the horizon.
Up.
We just developed a future Full Arch Masters course that I'm really excited about. This is designed to help you guys, if you're still listening to this,
to
help people who are wanting to be inspired, but don't know how to go about it. right? So Full Arch Masters, it was, it's designed for high-level full arch doctors, but there's a whole generation or group of doctors out there that are coming into this.
Yeah.
And we want to be the shepherd. We want to help these young doctors get to the level that we've gotten to. And so that's what future Full Arch Masters is. It's a live surgical course where you get to actually do a case like this with a skilled mentor. So that's on the horizon. We've got this road show that we're going on. We're going around to Giants games and Padres games and 49ers games and God knows what else. We're on the road now, and we're going and having fun, really high quality VIP events. We've got those coming. We've got symposiums coming up. We've got Full Arch Raw coming up.
Yes.
I mean, there is just so much stuff going on with Full Arch Masters. It's really hard to keep up.
Yeah.
And keep it all straight in my mind. But that, like I said, that's the fun of it.
Yeah.
And we get to come to work every day and change lives for our patients. Have fun with our colleagues and our coworkers who are our friends as well, and have fun teaching others and inspiring others. What else could a guy ask for?
Yeah, that's so true. And saying that, then let everybody know where we can find us, sign up for courses before we sign it out, and just
always check out our website, fullarchmasters.com. Follow us on all the socials. We're on. God damn, Jose, you got me on. You say it. I can't even say them all.
All right, guys, we are on TikTok, Full Arch Masters, Better Life, Instagram, Better Life, and then we're on Facebook, YouTube, Better Life YouTube,
oh my
right?
God,
so
yes.
There's a lot going
Christ.
on, man. So again, it's one thing to just say, hey, do as I say, not as I do, right? No, we do as I say because I'm doing it, right? So we're putting out content, we're pushing it. We're in the game, we're in the grind with you. So follow us at all our social media, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, MySpace. Shout out to
OnlyFams.
OnlyFams coming soon. Patreon. Remember, we got Patreon.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Patreon. Just remember Patreon.
Yeah, we got Patreon. We got everything coming.
Yeah.
So, there's always going to be something new and fun from Full Arch Masters. You will never be disappointed. You will never be bored. You will only be inspired. So, we're back at the office. Thanks for grabbing some coffee with me, Jose. Did I capture the origin story well enough for you?
That was perfect, man. Kind of again, it put the last piece to the puzzle, man. It makes sense. Again, people see the glory, man. They don't know the story,
right?
Or the gory of the story.
They don't know the gory. They just see the story.
So you guys heard the story. Don't forget to follow us. We got so much coming out. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, do all that good stuff. And we'll see you guys in the next one.
Peace. All right, so thanks for tuning in to another edition of the Full Arch Masters podcast. I'm Dr. Ryan Dunlop on a hot summer day in Fresno, California. Hope you enjoyed our Coffee and Fam podcast with Jose. It was fun to make, and if you have any questions, you can reach out to me online. Go to our website, fullarchmasters.com. Check you later. Have a great day.